Hello everybody, my name's Herbert, and I'm a hedgehog. Dinky-doo, dinky-die. I live with my mother and father in Sedgelock. That's a hedgehog town.
Herbert the Hedgehog gets a job. It was a sunny morning, and Herbert rose early from his little bed full of the joys of spring.
Now, what can I do today?
He said to himself sleepily whilst looking for his glasses.
I know. I'll help Mum around the house. Mum, I want to help you around the house. What can I do?
He called out. Well, Herbert, replied Mrs. Spike, the last time you helped around the house was when we decorated, and I seem to recall we got in an awful mess.
That's true,
said Herbert sheepishly. He spotted Mr. Spike mending a puncture on his bike.
Dad,
he called out.
Can I help you?
Well, son, said Mr. Spike in a slightly serious manner. I seem to remember the last time you helped me gather leaves, we all got in a terrible mess. Herbert sat down feeling very sorry for himself.
I know,
he thought suddenly.
I'll get a job.
He jumped up and ran to his bike. Molly Mole had told him that Mr. Rabbit, the owner of the newsagents in Sunnyvale, had a terrible cold and was looking for someone to deliver the morning papers. He arrived at the little shop just in time to see Mr. Rabbit struggling with the newspapers. Hello, Herbert. What can I do for you? Inquired Mr. Rabbit, sniffing loudly.
Well, Mr. Rabbit, I'm looking for a job today. Is there anything you'd like me to do?
Oh, Herbert, I can't deliver my papers because I've got an awful cold. They should be delivered before 9 a.m, otherwise all my customers will be disappointed. But I don't feel well enough. Could you deliver them for me? Herbert jumped with glee.
Of course,
he said eagerly.
Just give me the list and I'll be on my way.
Mr. Rabbit gave Herbert a list of all the addresses that had to be delivered to and a pile of papers in a big bag. Herbert put the bag over his shoulder and cycled off excitedly.
Hi diddly die, a paper boy am I. Hi diddly dee, I'll be the quickest I can be.
And off he went, in completely the wrong direction. Being a bit absent-minded, Herbert hadn't thought to look at the list before he set off to see which was the quickest route to take. He suddenly realised he didn't know where he was going and stopped to read his list.
Blow!
Exclaimed Herbert, studying the list.
I've forgotten my glasses.
Well, luckily, Mr. Rabbit had listed all of his customers in big bold writing, so Herbert could just about read them. But the list of papers they had ordered was much smaller. Herbert could barely read them at all.
Right,
Herbert said to himself, concentrating hard on the print in front of him.
Charlie Owl is first. I can read that okay, and he likes to read the,
Herbert struggled to read the title. Didn't help that he was reading the list upside down. Herbert shuffled all the papers into the order that he thought he had to deliver them and set off again. First, he came to Charlie Owl's tree. He had seen Mr. Rabbit deliver the papers, so he knew just what to do. He called out to Charlie,
Hey, Charlie, here's your newspaper.
And with that, he threw the paper high into the tree, and Charlie just managed to catch it in his beak. Good shot, Herbert, called out the owl, as Herbert hurriedly cycled on. But wait, continued Charlie, as he looked at his paper. But it was too late. Herbert had gone. Next, Herbert came to the river where Oswald the otter lived, and again Herbert threw the paper down to the entrance of Oswald's little house on the riverbank, calling out,
"Hi, Oswald! Here's your newspaper."
"Thank you, Herbert, but wait!" he called out. He read the title, but Herbert was well on his way. Dakira the deer was next on Herbert's list. Dakira had a neat little mailbox at the entrance to her house, and Herbert placed the paper inside. Dakira rushed out to collect her paper. "Thanks, Herbert," she called out. "But wait," she shouted. But Herbert was gone. Herbert was delivering all the wrong papers to everyone. Oswald the otter had got the Daily Oak instead of County Fishing, and Charlie Owl had ordered the Daily Oak, but Herbert had delivered County Fishing to him. He was so disappointed, and so it went on, Herbert delivering all the wrong papers. Bastian Badger looked bemused as he opened the Sedgelock Echo, when he had ordered the Reggae Weekly. Martha Mouse had got the Squirrel's Express instead of her favourite sports paper. What a disaster! No one was able to catch Herbert as he was so quick. Soon Herbert had visited all the woodland folk and delivered all their papers, all the wrong papers. He was quite exhausted. He slowly pedalled back to Mr. Rabbit's shop, tired but pleased with himself at how quick he had been. Mr. Rabbit was waiting for him with a very cross face. "Herbert," he said sternly, "what have you done? All my customers have been on the phone furious because you have delivered the wrong papers to them." Herbert was genuinely surprised.
"Goodness me, what have I done?"
he muttered. "I will now have to go and deliver them all over again, and it really is bad for my business. This could ruin me," moaned Mr. Rabbit. Just then the phone rang, and Mr. Rabbit rushed into the shop to answer it. "Another angry customer, I expect," he growled. "Hello, Charlie," Herbert heard Mr. Rabbit say. "Yes, Charlie," he continued. Of course, I shall make sure you get it tomorrow." Herbert braced himself for another telling off. "Well, blow me down with a feather," exclaimed Mr. Rabbit. "Charlie Owl loved the County Fishing newspaper you delivered so much that he wants to order it as well as the Daily Oak." Before Herbert could speak, the phone went again. Mr. Rabbit answered it. "Bastian here. Love the Sedgelock Echo. Mr. Rabbit, can you deliver one with my Reggae Weekly tomorrow?" Of course," Mr. Rabbit replied excitedly. "Herbert, what have you done?" he laughed. Everyone was phoning now, enjoying their new papers. "Goodness," Dakira the deer had said, "what a delight to read the Daily Pond Life. Please include it with the Antler." "Herbert, you've doubled my sales and saved my business," exclaimed Mr. Rabbit. "Thank you so much." Herbert felt very pleased with himself.
"Would you like me to come back and deliver them for you tomorrow, Mr. Rabbit?"
Mr. Rabbit thought long and hard. "Well, Herbert, I think I will feel a lot better tomorrow and will be able to deliver them myself, but thank you very much anyway."
"Glad to be of assistance,"
replied Herbert, getting back onto his little bike and heading for home.
"Well, that was a good day's work,"
he said to himself proudly.
In a dream of a